Yo, what up there, guys? Welcome back to the channel. How y'all doing? And today, guys, I want to talk to you guys about the big fashion news, guys. I mean, have you heard the news, bro? Have you even heard the news? Well, unless you've been living under a rock or not, bro, or some cave like a caveman, the fashion industry is about to fall on its knees, bro. It's literally collapsing. It's losing thousands and thousands, maybe even millions of customers now overnight because China has just basically exposed the whole of the fashion industry. There's the guy from DHgate. He owns most of the factories that produce all the designer labels, all the designer brands, and he has basically come out and said that China produces 80% of the world's designer items. So that's like Louis Vuitton, Dior, Chanel, Gucci, Prada, Fendi, Armani, Moncler, Canada Goose, uh, Yves Saint Laurent, Saint, all of them basically, bro. All of them, Bottega Veneta, all of them, bro. Uh, Basically, it's just come out and said that, bro. Anyway, like, and people on TikTok, is causing a major catastrophe. Like, all the TikTokers are running around, all the YouTubers and Instas are running around like, and they just like throwing their toys out their pram. They're saying like, I can't believe I spent 2,000 on these Louis Vuitton jeans. I can't believe I spent 800 on this like Gucci bag, bro. Even I'm a bit shocked. I'm like, damn, I've just spent like, well, not just like I brought a Prada belt like, well, the last designer's thing I brought was a Leaks. Yeah, I brought that Leaks bag for like about 100 quid, bro. But it was meant to be 450. I got it on set anyway, bro. But like, and that was like a year and a half ago, so it doesn't really affect me like them. Yeah, I brought that Prada belt, but that was in 2021. I brought the Prada belt, bro. So I'm over that now anyway. But like, yeah, a lot of anyway. It's all on the socials, bro, and like basically like what the guy the guy in China, the actual Chinese factory owner, he's like the factory owner of DH Gate. Now DH Gate, if you don't know, they make knockoffs of like all the designer brands, Rick Owens, Louis, Dior, all that shit, Gucci, Prada, all that shit, bro. They make like knockoffs of it, like so fakes, and then like he's actually come out and openly said that like his company, like they actually make the real stuff for the real designer companies too. So like what a designer brand will do, they'll probably go to China. Well, no, probably about it, they will go to China and they'll approach a company like DHgate and DHgate themselves, and they'll ask him to say, "Oh, we like what you're doing here. We like that these jackets that you're making. Like we like them so much. Can you make us like about 150,000 units of these? Run us say 150,000 units of these, and we'll give you guys like 30 or $40 each." And like DH get it like, yo, yeah, we'll do that because they love that because they know that they can shift more if they actually make it for a designer brand because they know that people buy designer brands hella a lot, bro. They love that, bro. So like they'll say, yeah, okay, we'll do that for you guys. And then DH Gate will also continue to still sell like the knockoff version, which is actually the same version because it's actually from the same company in the same factory. And all Louis Vuitton do and Dior do, they'll just have the designer. Well, that's no longer designer. They'll just have basically like all their DH Gate stuff go to their, I guess, their factories or their warehouses, and then like the workers there will just like sew on the made in Italy tags, and then they'll just package them up in their Louis Vuitton boxes, and Dior boxes and whatnot, bro. And this all started because of the Trump tariffs, because Trump like raised the tariffs in China to 125%, bro. So anything that's made in China, people in America have to pay 125% extra for. So like China decided to fight back at this by saying, well, if you're gonna do that, then we're just gonna basically come out and tell you the truth about all the design stuff you guys have been buying from us. So it messes like the economy up for like the Americans, because now the American people don't want to buy it, so it's gonna hurt like all the designer brand companies, all the Italian companies, where most of the stuff is sold like in the USA, bro. The USA lap all the worst stuff up, bro. And like even for Apple, bro, like Apple, Apple make, obviously, they make the iPhone and whatnot, bro, and most of the parts are made in China as well, bro. So what that means is that anyone who's buying an iPhone after the 90-day period, when the tariff ban actually comes into effect, it's gonna cost them hella load more money. I'm talking like if you buy like if you bought a 16 Pro Max for like I think they go for about 1,200 or 1,300. It's gonna now be about like nearly 3K, bro, because it's gonna be double and a half more. And like there was a lot of panic buying as well. I was watching the news, and a lot of people going out in New York, and they were like panic buying like the iPhones up, bro. And not just Apple, all the technology companies who make like like you got Intel with the parts. No, sorry, not Intel. Intel actually they fed their own chips, but like AMD, they all their like processors are made in Taiwan, which Taiwan isn't actually part of China, but it is and it isn't, because they're sort of like in a bit of a tug of war at the moment, and it's actually a separate entity. So Taiwan actually might be okay. Actually, AMD actually might be okay, but like other companies, like where like other chips are made in China, like that could be a bit of a problem, bro. For them, it could be a bit of a problem. But like mainly the fashion industry is like on their knees, bro. I gotta be honest, bro. And I mean, like me personally, as I say, I've not really bought anything designer for a long time. So I even if I did buy something like a while ago now, I'm over it. Even if I do find out that it's not really made in Italy, because like this product belt I got right here, bro. Now this says this is Prada. Like I brought this like in 2021, so I'm over that. I'm that's old money to me now. That's like 4 year old money. So even if it wasn't made in Italy, I wouldn't have been that bothered. But it's made in Italy anyway. This says, and I think with Prada they're a bit different as well, because like Prada actually tell you that they're made in China, and they also have stuff that's made in Italy, and it'll say. So like if they say it's made in Italy, it probably is, because they've already admitted that like they make like all that stuff, a lot of stuff in China as well. And I know Prada do make stuff in Italy, because they've got some factories in Italy, so I know they do. But it's mainly like the sort of like glossy designer brands like Louis Vuitton, like the ones who make like the main bags, like Louis Vuitton, Dior, Chanel, um, those type of designer brands that make like the it bags, bro. They're the ones that are really like getting a bit worried, because like people are saying on social media that they're just gonna stop buying it completely, bro. They're saying like I spent all this money on like this designer sweater that was like a grand, and I just read this and it's like made in China. I mean, imagine how pissed off you'd be if you just brought a designer sweater for like $1,000, bro, £1,000, whatever, and you find out it's just made in China for like £40, bro. You'd be hella pissed. Would you not be hella pissed? I'd be hella pissed, bro. That's worse than losing money at the casino, gambling. That's literally, that's like worse than that, because at least when you go to the casino, you can actually win something, and you can have a bit of fun as well, bro. And you can like, if you go to the casino, you can say, right, I've got like a few grand in my bank. I'm just gonna go and take this £500 and try and win. If I don't win, I've still got my grands in the bank, and you've had a bit of fun, bro, and it's a bit of a pastime. You look at women who do like horse riding, bro, they spend like 2 grand on just a horse saddle and shit, bro, and like 8, 10, 12, 20 grand on a horse and shit, bro. Then they gotta like buy all the food, and they got like the stables they gotta pay for and all that, bro. That's like 100 grand a year, bro. So like stuff like that is not as bad, but if you find something that people have just lied blatantly come out and said to you, all these years that it's made in Italy and France, but in actual factuality, all these years it was actually just made in China, and it's not by like artisans either, bro. It's by like a Chinese person who doesn't really, he's not like an artisan person. He's just like a normal person like you and I, and he's just going to work at a factory and he doesn't really like his job, and he's just like just doing it just to get the money, and and he's half tired because like if you've seen the Apple, you seen what happened with Apple, where all the Chinese people like that just like living in the factory and they're sleeping in the factory and they don't even get no daylight hours for themselves, bro. And that's the state they are in. That's why sometimes when you buy a Chanel like bag, the stitching will be like way off like that. That's probably because a Chinese worker is just like so tired. He doesn't want to do the job, bro. But guys, this is really bad. Um, as I say, I, I'm not buying no more designer stuff, and I said I wasn't gonna buy none, and I've not bought anything designer for over a year and a half, bro. My last thing was that 1017 Elite bag, and I've not even bought anything designer. I mean, I went into a store and I seen a diesel coat, which went from like 250 to 40 pounds. So I might pick that up and just rock it in rock it in this, in the winter when it starts getting cold. But like Diesel isn't really like luxury designer. It's just a designer brand. It's not really a luxury designer brand. It's a decent brand. It's the quality is good. It's not one of those coats where they got like that cheap material that rips. You notice if you buy a really cheap coat for like 20 pounds in the UK, and like you have it for like less than a month and it starts ripping inside, that sort of netty hard material inside the coat, bro. That is just really bad material, bro. But anyway, guys, yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of this designer fiasco, and finding out that it's everything is just made like in China. You know, the Chinese factory owners actually come out and said that 80% of the world's designer items are made in factories like his, in his factory, and factories like his. So like it's just totally exposed. I knew this already, bro. I knew this like years ago. I knew this like years ago because I read articles on it years ago. But like he's actually come out and actually said it, so it's now confirmed. It's now confirmed to the industry, which has got people worried because people probably heard of it before, but now he's actually come out and said it. And this guy, he's got his own factories, and he's actually shows you samples of all the bags he makes. He's actually confirmed it for people. People are pissed, bro. People on TikTok are saying they're never buying that shit again. No more designer for them, bro. So these designer factories like Dior and Louis, they're all gonna suffer, bro. And China are really gonna kill like the designer like brands. Birkin bags might actually start going down. Like Birkin bags start at about 7 grand and go all the way up to like 100,000 pounds, bro. But you can get ones with like that like crocodile skin and all that shit, bro. People who got them now, if I was them, I try and sell it, bro. I try and get rid of my bags and try and get my money back while you can. Because if people are just gonna stop buying it so much, bro, then people are gonna lose a lot of money who own them bags, bro. If I was them, I'd try and get rid of all the Birkins I had, bro. Because I knew that bubble was gonna pop eventually because it couldn't hold up that long. People keep buying like Birkin bags for 10 grand, 20 grand, 100 grand. That's gonna pop because it's bullshit. Anyway, guys, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of this designer fiasco. Also, let me know what you think of Trump's tariffs and like China hitting back and putting their tariffs up on America too, bro. And with that being said, I'll see you in my next video, guys. Peace.